This is your definitive guide to merge conflicts, why they happen, how to fix them, tips and tricks to make your life easier, and we're going to do it all with motion graphics and code samples like you're seeing on the screen to demystify the tricky world of merge conflicts. Whether you primarily use the command line or a code editor like VS Code, this is the video you've been looking for. Let's get started. The most common type of git merge that results in a conflict are what's called three-way merges. As you can see in this example, a commit has been introduced to the main branch after the feature branch was created. This means that when I pop open my terminal and run merge, Git will need to compare the tips of both branches, here and here, plus take into account their common ancestor here to attempt to resolve any conflicts. 1, 2, 3, and that's a three-way merge. As you can see, this is how a three-way merge is supposed to work, and in this case, we didn't get a merge conflict. But there are a lot of moving parts. So let's rewind and look at a scenario that would result in a merge conflict. Conflicts typically occur when branches modify the same part of a file that exists on both branches. If we examine the files in each of these commits, we can see that they both made changes to the index.html file. And furthermore, I can see they both modified the same part of that file. When I attempt to perform a merge, Git will try to automatically merge those two index.html files. If Git still doesn't know what to do and can't automatically perform the merge itself, it will throw a merge conflict. It's also worth mentioning that Git can usually merge files successfully on its own, even if those files were both modified. Conflicts occur when this auto merging breaks down, but you can actually customize what algorithm Git uses to do this auto merge, and it might be worth reading about if you get a lot of conflicts. But that's neither here nor there though, because once we have a merge conflict, we have to fix them. Let's take a peek at what that might look like. I'll run merge, and boom, conflict. The first of the two most common types of merge conflicts. In this case, Git didn't even try to start the merge operation because it noticed I had uncommitted changes in my working directory. If I run status to reveal what those changes are, you can see I've actually been working on that index.html file, which explains why Git was reluctant to start the merge process in the first place. This error is easy enough to bypass though. Simply set aside your local changes for later using stash like this. This puts those changes aside and clears your working directory so none of the local files interfere with the merge. But stash is pretty interesting on its own, so if you're curious to dive deeper, check out my other video on that. Now that we've restored our working directory to a clean slate, I can attempt my merge again. But dang it, another merge conflict. This time Git actually tried to merge the branches and it failed. This is the second and more common type of Git merge conflict. Getting this message is a little intimidating, but trust me, merge conflicts can be solved in a straightforward manner as long as you know the steps. But speaking of steps, it's pretty nice to take steps to improve your Git knowledge, especially when those steps involve comprehensive motion graphics, coding samples, and other intuitive learning methods. If you're looking to take your understanding of Git to the next level, check out learngit.io in the link in the description. It's everything you love about this YouTube channel and a whole lot more. If you struggled to understand Git in the past, Learn Git is what you need. Okay. Back to the video. The first step is to start by illuminating our path forward by getting some more information. It can be helpful to know which commits are in conflict, and you can do this with the log command by passing the -- merge flag like this. As you can see, it's these two commits here that contain the conflict. Now that's cool and all, but what's really actionable is what file or files need conflict remediation, and we can find that out by running git status. As you can see, even though our branches and commits may contain a large amount of files, it's pretty rare that you have merge conflicts in all of those files. In fact, typically you'll only have a few files that require manual intervention, and you can clearly see what those files are in the output of the status command under that unmerged paths header. In this case, I have only one merge conflict in the index.html file, just like we saw in the animation. But you can also see that there are other files that will be part of this merge that don't have conflicts, and they're in this section right here. But before we dive into fixing the conflicts, you might just realize that at this point you're in over your head and you just want to abort the merge altogether. If that's you, no worries. Just run git merge -- abort and Git will return your branch back to the state it was before the merge. But in this video, we press on. So now that we know which files have conflicts, we can dig deeper and figure out what those conflicts actually are. Fortunately, Git has already done this work for you. To start, we need to open the conflicted file, either in the command line text editor like Vim or in your normal IDE like VS Code. For this example, I'm just going to use Vim, but later in this video, I'll show you a cool trick with VS Code too. Once your file is open, look for a section of your file that has these funny little markers. These are called conflict markers, and they're added by Git in the exact spots in the file that it couldn't merge automatically. At first glance, this looks confusing, but let me show you just how easy it is to read these. After the less than or equal to signs, you'll have the name of the branch. The first marker will be labeled with head, and in this case, head indicates the latest commit on the main branch. This means that anything between that line and that divider with all the equal signs, that's what was added by the main branch. Then anything between that divider and the closing conflict marker is what was introduced by our feature branch. So now that we know what part of the file Git couldn't merge automatically, how do you go about resolving this conflict? Well, this too is pretty straightforward. Simply edit the file and replace this entire section with how these lines should look after the merge. Now that could mean keeping the changes introduced by main or keeping the changes introduced by the feature branch. So in my example here, there's some confusion about the contact information on that section of my website. I want visitors to check out my YouTube channel, but email me with specific inquiries. So I'll update this section to reflect this. And that happens to be a combination of both the main branch and the feature branch commit. After that, just save the file and repeat this process for any file that has a merge conflict. Lastly, stage the files you edited with git add and then run git commit with a commit message to finalize the merge. This commit will be a merge commit, so remember to provide a descriptive message. And that's it. You've successfully merged your branches and resolved your conflicts. But wait, that wasn't as hard as you thought, right? But can it be easier as well? Yes. Let me show you a trick. Let's rewind to right after we tried to run the merge. Instead of opening my conflicted file in my terminal text editor, I'm going to open that in VS Code. As you can see, VS Code has some built-in features that make resolving merge conflicts really easy. First, the conflict area is clearly marked with these bright colors, and it's really easy to see what change came from which branch. Then, to resolve the conflict, I have these handy buttons here. Clicking these will automatically update the conflict area in the way that I choose. For example, if I wanted to keep the change introduced by main and throw away the one from my feature branch, I just click this button. But for this example, I'm just going to click keep both and then I'll modify to my chosen outcome. I'll then just save, return back to my terminal, and complete the merge in the exact same way as before, first by staging and then committing the files. And that's it. Let's review. You start with a merge where you'll see a conflict. If you've got a conflict that starts with the message error, your local changes will be overwritten, stash your changes in your working directory and then continue. Next, if you have a conflict that looks like this, start by using git status to get information about which files have conflicts. Next, open those files one by one and remove the conflict markers. Then just save and commit those files. That's it, you fixed your merge conflicts. And that's it for this video as well. Merge conflicts demystified once and for all. And if you found this video useful, I'd be extremely grateful if you were to share it with somebody who you think could benefit. These videos really are a labor of love for me, and seeing comments from folks who've unlocked their Git understanding by watching my videos makes it all worth it. Plus, if you're looking for more Git videos, I've got those too. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. Defy the tricky world of merge